Green Christmas, just like the ones I want to know, where the solar panels glisten and members listen to hear about all the ideas we sow. I'm dreaming of a green Christmas with every motion and bill I write. I hold out hope yet that one day I'll get one passed, and that would be all right. I'm dreaming of a green New Brunswick, just like the ones we used to know. Jobs are attainable, forests sustainable, with lots of deer tracks in the snow. I'm dreaming of a green Christmas, where the leaders are in the know, be it seniors in healthcare, teachers in daycare, stand shoulder to shoulder, not toe to toe. I'm dreaming of a local economy where all the food we buy, we know, where tomatoes are tasty, meals aren't hasty, and children get the food they need to grow. Our premier's dreaming of a pipeline in every speech and interview, it appears. Let's make sure everyone can cheer so that all it carries is draft beer. The PCs are dreaming of a leadership race, someone to lead them back to first place. Oh, for the days of Hatfield they pine, except now they must contend with this party of mine. I'm dreaming of my own caucus. Audience after I speak, where the nays are nowhere and the yays resound there, and I get to pass one bill per week. I'm dreaming of a New Brunswick where everyone and thing is serene, strong communities, a province in unity. Let's not wait until 2018. I'm dreaming of a green Christmas just like the ones I want to know. May our energy be efficient and clean, and may all your Christmases be filled with the hope, love, joy, and peace that is the promise of this season.
The member for Kent South.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for allowing me this flexibility for the multiple rules I'm about to break. 'Twas a week before Christmas, and with the days getting short, Kurt MacDonald had one last chance at a witty retort. For the Tories this season, that would be quite a feat, because the opposition soundtrack is stuck on repeat. Yes, it seems that their party is living in the past, which is why in some riding they finished dead last. Blaine Higgs still bemoans all the withering looks he gets for his failure to balance the books. He was fiercely proclaiming what he would have done if Premier Gallant hadn't spoiled all his fun. When outside the chamber there arose such a clatter, we sprang from our seats to see what was the matter. It was the member for Riverview and part of his caucus. They were jockeying for position and becoming quite raucous. The Tories MLAs filled out their Christmas list with care, wishing a new leader soon would be there. Jake was the first one to rant and to rave about being swept up in the Ted Fleming wave. To that, Ted did a double and then a triple take. He was all ready to sign up with Team Jake. If the wave gets too big, then the one who'll be crying is the MacDonald who goes by the first name of Brian. Don't worry, Brian. Losing is not a concern for your campaign manager and Harper's ex, Jenny Byrne. The leadership candidates were kicking off their campaign and fished whistle and shouted and called them by name. Now, Teddy, now, Brian, now, Michael and Jake. This doesn't look like a party, it looks more like a wake. From the top of the port to the top of the wall, get your campaigns in order for the contest next fall. So out to the rotunda the Tories they flew, with the leadership rivals and Jody Carr too. Then in a twinkling we saw on the roof Bruce Northrop, Ross Wetmore, and some other goof. They were back from the auction and proud as can be as they delivered their purchase to the RCMP. Those infamous servers yielded more info still, like Kurt McDonald's purchase of the old Atcon mill. But before you listen to all of their jeers, apparently they've had their computers for years. The strategy is confusing to all of Santa's elves, who wonder, why would they keep that evidence to themselves? Speaking of which, the Auditor General, in a move somewhat brash, announced a new audit and demanded more cash. I won't go through a process, she said. My office is above it. As for finance and lack, they can just shove it. We've come to the part where we raised Dr. Cleary, but without her consent, our lawyers were leery. We welcome Mr. Fairgrieve from the riding near Sisson, who with Greg Lutz and Fowley always loved to go fishing. Now out of power, they miss all the opulence that sometimes required altering some documents. This is why they have taken such a partisan stand against the commissioner we know as Bertrand. The commissioner's ties are only part of the story. Did you know the Ombudsman Murray was a well-known Tory? That's why their integrity is ever so poor, when parts of the story they just choose to ignore. The new fallen snow was lit up by the moon. When who did we hear from? Yep, David Coon. All of you, please stop with all of your gripes. Who cares about old computers and political stripes? The sky is falling and we're all going to croak. The Irving refinery is belching out way too much smoke. Hey, wait a minute, was the response from MLA Harris. How come Kermit gets to go to Paris? As dry leaves before the wild hurricane fly, Lisa was not the only one asking why. Like, how come the Tories have lost all their voices when it comes to the next budget and making tough choices? You know the Tories, they used to be a whole lot bolder before they put the muzzle on poor Trevor Holder. But there remains a member opposite of which we are a fan. He may be the legislature's last honest man. Carl Urquhart's a legislator without any pretense. Who cares that his stories never make any sense? As a leader, we think he'd do in a pinch, as would Wilson, Shepherd, Crossman, or Lynch. Anything to get them out of that deep and dark ditch, being dug every day but by that old Grinch Fitch. He's a leader that knows about digging deep holes. If you don't believe me, take a look at the polls. So while the Tories spin fiction and tales of high treason, we'll focus on what is best of the season. The holidays are a time for family and friends, a time for political foes to make their amends. Spreading peace and goodwill is really not a big ploy. Now, before I turn it over to Stanley's Reverend Lovejoy, yes, Kurt, I am almost done. It's time to exclaim with tidings of good cheer. We wish you a Merry Christmas, on vous souhaite un joyeux Noël to all of New Brunswick, and a Happy New Year.
Member for Fredericton, New York.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and as always, my apologies to the original author. Mr. Speaker, 'twas the night before Christmas, and here in the House, the flames of a riot grits were trying to douse. Students and seniors of the Premier grow leery, as do civil servants for the treatment of Cleary. Doucette and Lunn were asleep in their bed, with them at the helm, job creation is dead. And yet for one sector he'll fight like a mobster. I think we all know his connection to lobster. I've spent $200 million Refining his oil, his money, his risk, his sweat and his toil, Gallant can't create jobs, he just does not get it. Putting Irving aside, he took all the credit. St. John's memory is long and not short. It's Weston's investment that's growing the port. The Port City Tories worked hard as an ant, shaming 68 million from Premier Gallant. Nervously waiting like a wedding day bride, Kenny had hoped for Paris but was offered no ride. In the city of love, by the light of the moon, is it merger or marriage for the Liberals and Coon? Now Eddie, now Ricky, now Don Arsenault, on Brian, on Billy, on Victor Boudreau. No measure of time their faux pas will fix, known simply to all by the name Atcon 6. So great is the heat in Miramichi that Billy and Lisa are nowhere to see. According to polls, their numbers are sliding, and back on the river, they've gone into hiding. In September of 14, a general election, Keating quickly resigned upon further reflection. Gallant freshly elected and still in a haze, he lost his first member in 22 days. Then off to Carleton, the Grits planned to win. 'Twas the second knockout they would take to the chin. Our poor little Premier, how sad he will be if next by-election he is 0-3. See, people remember the Atcon affair, costing Sean Graham his job and Arsenault his hair. But Victor Boudreau is the true man to thank. He abandoned taxpayers to prop up the bank. And now there's a scandal in Bas-Carriquet. Landry's probing the issue, but no answers yet. Just as with Atcon, no look before leaping. More debt on taxpayers, Grits seem to be heaping. In Western Charlotte, they voted for John. Only months later, their courthouse was gone. He cut Service New Brunswick back in his riding. For the next election, time voters are biding. Mike Murphy appeared looking most hearty, stating that Brian had ruined the party, increasing our taxes, growing our debt, attacking daycares, and he's not finished yet. Mike grabbed the reins till the team gave a whistle. Preparing to tantrum, Gallant started to bristle, and I heard Mike exclaim ere he drove out of sight, "Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night."